large panel. We're a full cricket team, I think so, at least. So yeah, it'll be tough to go in and out, but lovely to have views from everyone. The board just shows time's up. I've just started. So, so Omnichannel, I think, huge buzzword. I want to contextualize it in some way. We all understand in some way and form that we talk about a unified experience. But the unified experience transcends across the entire journey and life cycle of retail. 3 or 4 facets that I can think of is connected devices, stores, formats, customer experience, merchandise/inventory, last mile. Each can be omni-channel versus not. But the sum of parts, certain businesses may decide to be omni-channel in a particular aspect first from a readiness standpoint. So from a definition standpoint, I'd probably throw the question to 2 or 3 folks from the panel, just to contextualize it from a definition standpoint. So Shefali, Lacoste, Krishnan from Titan, and Amit Shri, maybe 3 of you can just one after the other in whichever form, just help understand.
Thanks, Navin. Hi, everyone. I'm Shefali. I'm the Vice President with Lacoste India. It's an honor to be here. So to begin with, as we all know that digital revolution has had a great, massive, positive impact on the traditional rate fashion industry. So what used to be 10 to 12 hour of buying ceremony is now 24/7 experience. So customers now can shop from anywhere, either they are at home or they're traveling at any given point of time. So it clearly shows that now the needle has been moved and the emphasis is clearly on the convenience shopping. Now even the best part is that consumers, people know now that they can shop from multi-channels. If they want to buy one product, they can have an access to multiple channels and they can buy at their own convenience. So also, even if there is any product, they go to a store, there is any product which goes out of stock. So brands would use their internal network and will get them delivered at their home. So this is the elevated level of customer experience that we are talking about here, which now people use as the measure of standard to measure the customer experience. So if I talk about Lacoste, with us, digital technology, the transformation has really helped us in enhancing our horizon. People are now, we can reach people in a better ways. Through our e-com channel, we have our own website. So people who did not have the access earlier, now they can reach us, they can place order, on our website at any time, which was not the case earlier because we are not physically present, of course, in all the cities. So that's the best part, that now, we can reach out, we can have more customers across the country. Also, one thing that we have been very strong right from the day one of our online business is to have the uniformity, the similarity, the consistency across all channels. You talk about online, you talk about offline channels, or you even talk about the third marketplaces. The product line, the pricing, the information, even the customer service, everything remains same, uniform. And this helps us, building trust in customers' mind, driving the brand loyalty. So this is what we have been doing, and I think it's working really well for us. But yes, having uniformity across multi-channels is extremely important. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Amit.
So just adding to what you have said, I think we need to be very clear that being present at various channels is not omni-channel. It's about bridging the gap between all the channels. People start their journey online, browse at store, and end up buying on the tablet in bed, right? So I think uniformity you mentioned is a very valid point. One more thing is very important, that a seamless integration between all the channels. The journeys should be seamless for the customer. That is where the omni-channel comes up. Otherwise, we can say that we are multi-channel. I can give one example. So a customer sees an ad on Instagram, goes to the website, add some product in the cart, abandon the cart, goes to the store, And the store manager should be able to access that card after adding, taking the phone number. And the journey ends here, starting from the Instagram, goes to the website and ends up at the store. And the same customer, if she is wearing that product and putting a reel and tagging the brand, friends and family sees the same product, and again the same journey started. It's a seamless journey. I think one of the example which can make everyone clear. So in store, people can have access to the wish list of the cart, of the online cart, which is another example, right? So the unified experience definitely, but the seamless connectivity between all the channel is the must. When we can say that we are omni-channel.
Yes, Krishnan, please, can you?
Yeah, Krishnan here from Titan Company. We do have a problem with the unification of channels, especially in our brand Tanishq, where the best products have to be seen in the store. I mean, you have to see them in the store lighting, speak with our sales associates, probably try and wear them. No digital experience can match that. Right? So how do we do it? We obviously have to invest in photography, at least to get the customer who is visiting us digitally to be enthused enough to come to our store. And we have a contact center and an invitation on our website to book an appointment, call back. That leg is very active. And the way we measure outcomes is not to compartmentalize between digital and store, but to calculate the joint closure. And so therefore, everyone in the chain is incentivized. And so therefore, the contact center never misses a single lead or an abandoned cart, call within a few minutes, and speak with the customer and incentivize her to visit the store. In the store, Shefali mentioned the endless aisle. We have had many, many experiences, probably thousands by now, of customers not necessarily liking the product in the store, but seeing an image on the endless aisle and saying, yes, this is the one I want. In fact, last Saturday, my wife bought an item which is in some other store on the endless aisle. So depending on the product category, we have to fine-tune our strategies. In watches, for example, we are truly omni. You can order from the store and it could get delivered to you the same day, faster than the marketplace. Because watches don't need that level of look and feel as, let's say, a piece of jewelry. But again, that depends on luxury watches, as my friend here from Seiko will attest, right? Yeah, right. But there are many watches of ours where the image is good enough to buy on.
Thanks. Just the same question towards you. Your experiences from a viewing human perspective of omni-channel, and Krishnan brought in a great insight about the adaptability from a category perspective. Some are more attuned to it, so it's not just a buzzword, but it has to have applicability as well.
So Omni for us, in all practical senses, have been a journey which is little more than a year in execution. We have seen huge transformation in tools, services, solutions that's available. This is a space while, we have spoken about Omni for quite a few years now, but the speed at which solutions in the back end are changing to adapt to all kinds of ideas that one sees out of, whether it's a consumption pattern, whether it is a business problem, all of that, that is amazing. So if you ask me frankly, yes. I mean, are we living in a perfect Omni world? No. In a real true Omni world, the entire inventory is one irrespective of the point of sale. Whether it's a brand.com, marketplace, your store, franchisee store, department store, multi-brand, anywhere. And that's the theoretical definition of Omni, right? So we are, while we call it Omni very loosely, we are living in a world which is, like you said, it is digitally integrated multi-channel. A few things which I find very, very interesting, and a couple of points. One thing is uniformity. Uniformity of content, price, delivery experience, and return experience. If we get these four right, then the next level of journey begins. If you ask me frankly, I think all of us are at various stages of getting the execution right. In theory, we know what needs to be done, but reality is there is a party which is the consumer involved, and that consumer is an important stakeholder in the entire execution, right? So that's one thing. The second thing, which is still, if you ask me frankly, to be cracked by everyone, and I think Bidyut will agree here on this, is the fact that you have multiple commercial models of operating stores, right? So there are COCO stores where it is your GST. It's very simple. But the moment there's a franchisee and then there's another GST that comes in, the tax laws are not sort of soft enough to be able for you to be able to execute it right. And trust me, in last 6 months, I have seen 3 solutions thrown at me, and I'm telling you that I'm experimenting with one. I don't know how will it fare out. In 2 to 3 months' time, I'll know how is it working for me to be able to make the franchisee store inventory as a part of the net of Omni as well. In fact, we're working on 2 solutions. So a lot of moving parts. It's a world that we discover new every day. Right from pricing challenges, and we are a category we are a brand and a category which deals with youth. We are present across multiple platforms. Pricing on Myntra has to match on Flipkart, and that same old stocks inventory, if that is getting sold, has got to be available in my 3PL warehouse or at the back of the house in my store, has got to be serviced, and it's got to be serviced from the nearest pin code, right? So all of these are multiple moving parts. If you ask me frankly, in last year, we have started to sort of learn a little from the data that we are seeing. A lot to be learned, a lot to be executed. But one thing that has worked for us is we weren't scared of experimenting. If something came our way, we said, let's try. We'll figure. And if it doesn't work in 15 days, that it's not going to work in 6 months. Yep.
Thanks for that. I think the first set of speakers have come in more from an overview perspective on multi-channel. We'll just take the next detour for this piece, which is more on the customer experience side. I'd like Bidyut, Ullas, and Nirdosh to please share their views from their current experiences on the consumer. I'll just add a caveat here. Do you feel that the Gen Z customer is more an omni-channel customer than a traditional customer? And what are brands doing in this journey? Are they even being able to segment it and cut and slice and dice it from that standpoint?
Yeah, sure. See, as a marketer, you always want to understand your consumers a little better. And today, the first-party data you get actually helps you segment your consumers. You have people who are value seekers. You have people who actually do more online. And if you're asking Gen Z, it is actually more online. It's not so much Omni, but more sitting at home and shopping through a website. And they actually use it as a trial room, so they will order 3, and they'll keep 1 or 2, the rest comes back. So every 3 pieces that we sell, 1 comes back. So that's the current thing. So from a consumer standpoint, I think it is extremely important, the segmentation that we get from the first-party data. And then once you do that, you actually are able to do a lot of customization in the messaging that you do to your consumers. So we are a company which does from fabrics to apparel to ceremonial wear. So therefore, we can actually target somebody or his or her family when they're actually buying for an occasion like a marriage. So once we get to know that they've bought something for the marriage, we know that the entire family will need something to be dressed up. They will also get a lot of suits stitched from our stores. Therefore, there is a concept called made to measure, where we have a concierge service. So we actually send it to them saying, hey, if you are already a customer, you don't have to come into our store. You just put in your telephone number and tell us if your size is same, if your body has not changed. We'll send you the swatches online. You have a look at it. You order your suit or your whatever sherwani. It'll come to your place delivered. So to me, that's the convenience of Omnichannel, that you've once shopped and we have all your data and your body measurements. You are able to target that consumer and actually generate a revenue using your Omnichannel approach. Even when you look at third-party websites, our own .com, our own stores, they are pretty well connected. The only part which is not connected is today franchisee outright stores, what Vivek talked about. The GST number coming in and the tax laws coming in. It's very difficult to pick up something from there and sell it. So that's the biggest challenge. I guess it'll remain for some time till we figure out a automated system done by the government, mandated by the government.
Sure.
So that one challenge which still remains where still physical shopping happens. But from a consumer standpoint, Omni means the consumer is looking for some amount of convenience. Therefore, if you could look at your data, if you look at your segmentation of consumers and create a personalized messaging to them, which takes advantage of your omni-channel, which takes advantage of the capabilities that you have in your omni-channel, there is a good amount of sales, a good amount of inquiries which gets generated is what we have seen. We've seen also in cases of when you do end of season sale, there are value seekers who buy in bulk. Now, there are times when we actually send them a messaging through our D2C site. And the first 2 days of preview, these are the guys who come in and, I mean, menswear is menswear at the end of the day. You can actually go and shop for formal shirts and trousers online. A black trouser is a black trouser at the end of the day. There's not too much of variations you can do. You love our fit, you love the brand, you can come on board and buy it. So therefore, to conclude, when we look at consumer, we first segment the consumer and see where is the consumer sitting. Is it a new guy? Is it a millennial? And therefore, then we create some kind of messaging which is personalized to that person, and then leverage omni-channel to see if the convenience factor works for him. That's something which really works for us.
Thanks. Lasya.
Hi. Adding on to a lot of points most of you have mentioned, 3 keywords from your question. 1, Omni. 2, e-commerce. 3, Gen Z. We are a brand which has a problem with all the 3. To start off with Omni, we have only franchisee stores. We don't retail directly to start off with, right? Including our own e-store. Coming to the second point, which is digital, which is technically, unfortunately, today's fast commerce. It's all about transactional closing of sale. The brand that we come in from, we deal in the luxury and affordable luxury segment. It's all about experience. It's not about transactions anymore. So that's another problem. Gen Z, bigger problem for us. We are a 142-year-old brand. Heritage is what carries with us. So Gen Z is disconnected from heritage as far as it goes. So we are trying to address all the 3 problems in our own way. Let me just bridge the 3 points together in one. In a sense, we are trying to break free from 2 things. One is the algorithmic biases and the survival bias, as we call it. 2 things which we are trying to break free from. Digital for us is to ensure that experience of retail is carried forward. As much as possible, our communications are uniform, be it on digital, be it on our stores, be it on whatever communication channel we form. The unification of communication and the end point being the visual merchandising, right? The key, the highlight of each product, the representation, the story each product tells. That's the unification that we look at from an Omni point of view. So across the country, if you go to our boutiques today, the highlight story around every single SKU, the story is told is the same. And the props or the smaller items that is used to display or enhance that product, the unification of that is become the key product for us in our brand journey altogether. Coming to the Gen Z point, we are trying to break free from that communication of uniformity from, while you want to keep the heritage part, we are also ensuring that there's a separate set of product line which is communicated in a Gen Z fashion. Here again, the key is only communication. The product, the heritage, the technology is all carried from the legacy of Seco brand, but the communication changes. So we are talking young, vibrant, fast-moving visuals to attract the young Gen Z generation. The rest, the heritage carries on for our luxury brands. So that's how we look at unification.
Insight where you probably transcend a larger cross-section of the consumer. Yeah, please.
I think we kind of focus a lot when we say the Omni consumer specifically, right? While that is really important point for us to identify our consumers and make sure we give them experience with less, more with the less, right? Knowing them better, what they're doing, what they want to do with us in this transaction. What I want to pick up is slightly different dimension of this. While this is really important, all of us, we will talk very deeply about it. The products which we carry also needs to be truly Omni, right? Which essentially means I should be able to connect every single product in my inventory to every possible customer out there in the field today, right? And which obviously means, thinking about something very virtually, uh, very deep thought about saying, can we think about virtually one warehouse as a concept, right? When I say the virtual, obviously it's on the our imagination. The idea is that today everything around us is operated through data, right, about information. And if we curate and make use of this information to nimble and very efficient way, it essentially gives us the opportunity to connect every product to every possible customer probably is looking out for, right? If we extend this concept further, right, I'll probably start, using this term somewhere used in McKinsey article called zero consumer. Gen Z doesn't necessarily means the just younger people, but obviously if you think about our behavior as well, we have been changing our behavior on how we want to do our transactions, right? We don't want to be asked too many questions. We want our retailers to know about everything what we are looking out for by saying less. And in that term, if you look up, we are also the ones who is zero friction, zero boundary customers. And essentially, we as a retailers need to adapt to that, right? So a customer walking into any means of a communication with you, could be your physical store, could be your online store, could be multi-brand store, could be from anywhere. Will we be able to pinpoint and essentially help them out on what they're looking out for, right? From discovery to purchase to return and exchange to any service required to be, right? So essentially additional dimension, we should look entire business as a omni, not just consumers. Consumer definitely very important part, but our products are also very important part. Their experience, their service, everything needs to walk into that category where we are able to give them seamless and frictionless experience to them.
Thanks for that insight, Nirdosh. I think we've come to, you've actually led us to this next section. I want at least 4 or 5 of our panelists, Rashi, Rajeev, Saurabh, Kapil, to comment on the product, because you did mention that essentially omnichannel in its true sense from a product or a merchandise perspective means pretty much every SKU is identifiable, discoverable, accountable at every touch point of sales. But then there's the other side as well, with so many touch points and each having their own customer bases and own behaviors. Certain businesses may want something to be visible somewhere versus not. So it comes as a double-edged sword in some way, because you still would need that middleware knowledge to be able to then understand the distribution while you still may want to be omni-channel. So Rashi, do you want to take this first? And you come from Ajio. And yeah.
Sure. Okay. So when we talk about omni-channel operating model or omni-channel strategy, it basically evolves from building a consumer-centric supply chain system, to which a couple of things become very important. From the merchandising perspective, an end-to-end planning or merchandising plan becomes very important. Information flow is really important. When I'm saying information flow, it's not only to do with your systems talking to each other, but your cross-functional teams talking to each other. And third bit would be the actual physical movement of the inventory, which affects your last mile delivery and the costs involved, which in some cases, if your inventory or fulfillment is not optimized, can be a big burn to your bottom line. Coming back to merchandising, end-to-end planning, when I say that, basically when you plan for a brand, you might be looking at your trends, forecast, and you build it on an overall level. But when you are operating on an omni-channel model, basically you need to disaggregate your overall plan into separate channels. For brick and mortar, clustering is something we've been doing since ages. So e-commerce gets added into that phase. This becomes important because pre-pandemic, e-commerce was still a liquidation channel, I'd say. Today, we cannot say that. And that's why all brands are focusing on omni-channel strategies. So if you don't plan for each of the channels separately, what happens is customer is placing the order, inventory is moving in real time. So whoever sells first wins the customer. So let's say if whatever is a bestseller offline is mostly a bestseller online. The products move fast. Either your store fills get impacted because the sales has happened through the online channel, or worst case, you have to block the nodes and have loss of sales because you want the store or the shelf life to be full, but at the same time, you are losing on the e-commerce sales. Hence, merchandise or assortment plan at a channel level becomes imperative. Thank you.
Kapil, on the same context, assortment planning, merchandise.
Yeah, I think it's very important to have assortment planning also, breakdown into now specific color-wise planning, because I come from a category which is innerwear category, where typically, traditionally the way of working was an assortment of boxes which contains 5 to 10 colors. Omnichannel, before coming into the leverage, we have all seen that how pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, the customers have got used to the experience of buying online. I would say that online shopping has one point of time a leverage that has given Omnichannel the way to take it forward. And today that we talk about seamless or frictionless shopping experience, the customer who comes to the store now has a choice of picking up a particular style, not just a style, but also a color specific now, and where the channel will now bridge a gap between the stock points, which is the inventory level at the store per se, to take it forward and building up the customer loyalty also. I think one of the way of omni-channel coming in place is it has also started building up customer loyalty per se for the product, for the style, for the brand per se. But a very important aspect of this channel would be the integration of the front-end technology versus the back-end technology, where not just taking up the product to the consumer, but properly planning of the product from the back-end process, where right from the production to the front end, the product will have to be available in terms of color-wise assortments. I feel that the channel will only build up when all these systems would be knitted together and integrated, where technology plays a very important role.
Saurabh, would you like to come in here?
I think most of the points are covered, but I just want to, take a step backward, and I probably want to, why, first of all, why Omni, right? Why are we discussing this? In past 2 days, I have been part of different meetings and different conversations. We are talking about tech, we are talking about AI, we are talking about Omni, and we are talking about various logistic solutions and all. The basic principle is same, that we want to be relevant to the customer. We want to be preferably relevant, or basically preference for any customer which links to our portfolio. Second is optimization of inventory, which is basically the cost for any brand in today's world, right? So that is something which we are trying to figure out a solution. In earlier, what used to happen, the orthodox retail used to be when people used to visit the store sales staff used to say, sorry sir, we don't have the stock, and we will provide you after a week, or probably after 3 days. Why that has been a pain point, or so much of importance now? Because people have also realized that cost of acquiring a new customer is pretty high. So it becomes more important in today's scenario that whatever customer base we have, we become relevant for them. Today's sale lost will be lost for a week. He is not gonna come back. There is a cutthroat competition of various brands in every category, right? So it's not about online linking to basically offline. Yes, in retrospective it is, but it's basically how are you maximizing your entire inventory Yes, there are constraints with COCO model or a outright model and different models we operate, and rightly pointed out by my friend. But the point is that whatever maximum utilization, we might not be 100% Omni, right? But how can we maximize 80, 90 or 95% of our inventory which is lying in the store? We handle as a Apparel group almost a bouquet of 10 brands, right? We might not be might not be able to integrate every inventory for every brand, but then can we pass on the benefits from one brand to another brand? When you shop for one brand, you can always leverage it out from a different brand. You purchase something today in Charles and Keith, you like the bag, probably you can have a cup of coffee in Tim Hortons. So, that's something, an advantage of a loyalty program to pass on, to use your strength, to use your entire inventory, whether it is one brand, whether it is multiple brands, or whether it is, a portfolio, what you handle. So that's something which is very unique and everyone is focusing on.
Fair enough. Some good additional points brought in there. Rajeev, from Neeru's perspective, as an ethnic wear brand, how do you look at omni-channel inventory exposure, because it's a different kind of a product?
Good evening, everyone. Just a small thing about Neeru's. We sell a 1,000 rupees kurta to a 4 lakh rupees of lehenga. I was telling this to a lot of people just to tell you, the kind of width which we carry. And that becomes a challenge, when you get into omni-channel. Similarly, our store sizes are different, 1,000 square feet to probably 25,000 square feet. The categories are huge. Unlike any other ethnic wear, or for that matter, men's brand, we have lehengas, ghagras, saris. Name something in ethnic wear, we have got it with us. Now, when that kind of complexity is available in business, is a problem for us at times when we look at omni-channel, because you can't take every product to all the customers, right? So we have done this. In the past, what we have done is we have actually started with our marketplaces for liquidating purpose, a lot of old merchandises 4-5 years back. That's how we started. But when we started putting up the new merchandising, the new style, that is where we started connecting more with our customers. The revenues have doubled. So that is where we started. But then the problem remains the same, saying that, how to it. So what we do normally is we have a collection. So we have a very strong, sourcing. So what we do is, we are present in LFS also. We are present in Lifestyle, Shoppers, Pantaloon, and our EBOs, and then the marketplaces and our D2C. So what we do is we curate the lines, right? That's what we do. I think everyone has spoken about. That's what we do. We curate the lines. What is selling, probably a customer of Lifestyle want to have, or a customer of a Shopper Stop. Similarly, in D2C, our ASPs are different. Our ASPs for D2C is close to 5,000. If you look at our marketplaces, the ASPs are not the same. So you need to have different collection. There's something which we never tried offline, is selling really well online. We never thought that we'll be able to sell something like that in our stores, but that we have seen that selling in marketplaces. So the key over here is to curate your lines, and if you have good sourcing, which fortunately we have, to bring the latest trend into the market. So what we do is we curate the lines, what does to sell in the marketplace. In marketplace also different, the Myntra is something different, Flipkart is different. You need to choose where you want to be and what volume you want to be with. For us, probably Myntra is much better, along with our D2C, So similarly, you need to choose your channels. You can't be everywhere, but at the same time, make sure that you're available for your customer. The visibility is there for the customers.
Good. So I'll just double.
I'd like to just add on. One of the key challenges which we faced while integrating all our channels within Reliance. So we have Trends, we have Azort, we have Usta, we have Kalanikethan, we have Avantra. So one of the key challenges that we faced is we had products starting 99 up till the luxury products have no limit. And sometimes it just does not make sense to have products online which will, for which even if you sell 3 units, you'll not be able to cover the costs, the last mile delivery. But I think technology today has made it very easy for us to unplug or delist the inventory or manage your nodes very efficiently.
So in fact, in the last segment, that Rashi also had a thought about setting up a consumer-centric supply chain mechanism as a cornerstone for omni-channel. Vivek, you wanted to double-click on that as well?
Yeah, This is typically when you talk about supply chain, uh, the first thing that comes to our mind is everything that's happening in the back end to get the inventory to the right place, right? So the way we see this piece at Being Human, because our journey is not very long on Omni, we've had the luxury of learning from experiments of a lot of our industry colleagues and our previous organizations. So there are a few moving parts. First part is the consumer and the point of sale. So whether the point of sale is a store or your brand.com or a marketplace. And I'm just currently restricting the conversation to the current operating space while more is opening up, right? So there's one element. The other element is your POS or your own system to invoice. The third element is OMS that you're using because, consumer is buying online, picking at store, or the store is delivering or buying at the store and returning at the store, or buying online, returning at store. So multiple such permutations and combinations are happening, right? So this is the most obvious part of the front-facing supply chain that all of us discussed. But I think somebody mentioned that when we're planning assortment and the inventory, what happens is that something which is a bestseller offline is also a bestseller online. And what happens typically is more often than not, you're stocked out on your bestsellers in both the places, or you decide to say that, okay, I'm going to hold it on for my store and switch it off online because, otherwise I'll have regretted consumers at the store. And that's one regretted consumer that all of us traditionally see very, very seriously. There's another part of supply chain, and that's something which is traditionally not been seen solving this problem. But something that we have discovered over past 6 months of looking at the data, me and my team, is how this assortment available at the store. Because at the end of the day, the store is, while it is a store for the consumer, it is also a delivery center for orders that are getting generated online. And you rightly said that consumer is not only buying discounted merchandise, consumer buys a lot of fresh products on MRP, and those orders get serviced from our stores. Yeah. How you're phasing the assortment, how you're phasing the inventory. So there are two parts to consider here. One is the rate of sale. The second is the speed of delivery. So we've been able to sort of use a system, and we're 6 months into it, a system that kind of helps us manage the buffers more intelligently. System learns, and we're sort of hopeful that, in about 12 months of data, the system will be able to also help us identify the kind of OTBs one need to peg at across categories on product attributes that whatever one captures, right? So there's one end of the supply chain, which is OMS, POS, and delivery. The other part that is actually feeding the rightful inventory in the POS, which is your backend, if that gets more intelligent. And as we see that working better, harder, that one problem statement which is there that, my bestseller is going to get sold out at the store because orders are going to get generated through the night when the store is shut. And that's something that we all love, but, there's that other problem that gets created. It will probably land us, and, it is for all of us to probably think about and chase. Some of us are on the journey. But the reality is that at a point in time, one will have to see that is my rear end of the supply chain, and I mean rear end right from the factory to the warehouse and then the floor, is getting intelligent enough, or is it getting enough information and data for it to be able to really service the volatility that can happen with orders suddenly shooting or something not moving or inventory lying in a pin code which is too far away from where the consumer is, right? One of the benefits is that, the pin code is close by, you can deliver quick, you can deliver at a low cost, all of that. So this is one aspect that I wanted to bring. We are on the journey, and I'm sure many of you are on a similar journey in your businesses. But if you ask me frankly, 5 years back, we used to talk about omnichannel, and we used to think it is going to take us 3-4 years. And the world got onto that much faster. My belief is that this intelligence of the rear end of supply chain getting built and married to the intelligence or the volatility of the front end of the supply chain is something that we'll have to really fast track. Otherwise, we have lost sales and dead stock, both.
Can I carry forward? So I'll endorse my friends talk about the integration of complete supply chain. So I take it into two division here. One is the artificial intelligence supply chain management, which is the integrity of complete end to the back end, which I also specified earlier. But second is, how do we integrate the complete human intelligence in the supply chain? Because that's where is going to be the key. I mean, it's that we might try to enhance the human intelligence at the forefront of the store per se, where the omni-channel strategies might work in. But as the supply chain carries right from the factory to the store, the complete human chain intelligence also needs to be enhanced. This is what I can take it forward.
I'll
Yeah,
just
please.
add in a point.
Yeah, I can
I'll just
immediately
step in.
answer.
A totally opposite view to something that you're saying, not in the true sense of supply chain, but kind of mentioned that the top sellers online go to be the top sellers offline. Now, that's the survival bias, right? You have a product, you start clicking on the product, you see the product, you sell it more. The algorithm itself starts pushing that product up, which forces the next customer to believe that's the best seller. Does not necessarily mean that's the best product you have made. Especially with our collection like luxury, and I'm sure my friend here would also relate. In luxury, the more you sell the product, the next customer does not want that product. The more the product is seen, the customer says, give me something else. So we want to break free from this phenomenon of survival bias and the algorithmic biases, which force a top seller to remain on top, which does not give due advantage for the other products to be seen on top. So that's something that we are trying to work on in the back end, which till today requires human intervention, but trying to figure out how in some way digital could help us identify the products whose stories have not been told enough, get an opportunity to share their story on top, and not necessarily the bestseller alone. Yeah.
I
Very
think
interesting.
Anyone? Sorry, one limited point. See, I'll tell you very frankly, the way I see business is a little more dispassionately the way I see a product. A bestseller is a great product, but a bestseller is not necessarily your best product. From a point of view of what has gone in making the product. A bestseller could be your best product, but a bestseller is a product that is most acceptable to a wide set of consumers. And that's something that makes sense to the category that we operate in, hence the point that was made.
Also, just to add in, if you talk about the algos on e-commerce, the input is just not fixed on bestsellers. There are multiple factors which leads to a product coming on top. And I think there's already a tech solution of PLAs and so on and so forth, wherein you can push in products which you really want to sell. Yep. To an earlier point, which I really wanted to make was the point with respect to speed to delivery. Now, I thoroughly believe that resources are very limited as on date with any organization, and one size fits all does not work. So when we are talking about speed, if today we want to deliver products within 2 hours, it really becomes important to target that segment. We need to have a clear target segment and work our operating model way back to service that specific customer.
Okay. I guess I'll go back to the integration and the challenge part. We talked about the product and everybody has added. So I think the end objective is for us is customer delight and the higher conversions. So there is no doubt that e-commerce has huge scope in India. However, we still feel that technology should be such that it gives seamless customer experience. For example, if the inventory is being live to the customer at a channel level, then it should be real-time inventory. I'll just quote an example, being a customer, that I was browsing a brand, I'll not quote the brand, I was browsing a brand and I had booked a product in a particular store. I went to the store and unfortunately I did not get the product. The product was still being shown in their software as being available. However, real time it was not there. So I guess this brand definitely lost me as a customer. The trust is completely gone. So I think the emphasis should be not only on the implementation of a certain technology or software, the focus should be on the right execution to give the seamless customer experience. So I hope, though with the advancement of technology, we will overcome this so that the brand gives absolutely hassle-free experience to the customer, and the live inventory is actually a real-time inventory.
Amit,
So,
आप कुछ कह रहे हो?
yeah, so we talked about experience, and I've given the Instagram example earlier also. I think at the end, we are giving the benefit or experience to the customer to build a loyal community, right? So that is very important. And for that, I think personalization is something which is a key here. We cannot, sell parantha to the person who wants to eat dosa, right? Each time. Either we can give a lot of referral points or whatever offers, right? So I would like to quote, India is the United States of India. Lot of colors. Every state has a different culture. Every location has a different, vibrant types of people you can get. Like they have certain experience, they have certain likings. So personalization is also a very important factor which we need to take care of. And AI is definitely helping us in doing that, because understanding the customer buying patterns or behaviors and all that stuff. With Unicommerce, you need to add this personalization aspect to get the successful implementation and outcome.
Sure, thank you. I'd like to bring in Krishnan and Bidyut on the next, I think we've got 10, 12 minutes to go. For Omnichannel, we've talked a lot about the customer, who's driving the actual pace of Omnichannel. We've talked about the assortment. We've talked about a lot of tech. The last mile, I'd like to know your views on that, because actually Omnichannel fulfillment is the actual, million-dollar question there. I think accompanied with that, probably there's tech and logistics in place from a 3PL standpoint as well. But there's also a lot of training at the store level that really is one of the bigger issues in the actual on-the-ground implementation of Omnichannel. So any views on that, basis your experiences, Krishnan and Bidyut?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Our friend talked about human intelligence versus artificial intelligence. See, a lot of times when we started implementing Omnichannel, we saw stores' refusal to actually let go of the product. And try and understand, these are franchisee stores. Our products are expensive products. And on certain products, we create only so many number of pieces. Now, order is generated by somebody else. This guy doesn't want to let go of it, because along with that, he will sell a lot of other stuff. Once a guy decides on an ensemble, we dress him up actually. So that's a problem. First of all, as a company, we created certain ground rules. So that was created. Then we did a lot of training to the staff on the store, saying that, hey, you're letting go of something, but tomorrow you generate an order for something which you don't have. You will get from some other store. So let's create an ecosystem where we're able to make sure that the product moves seamlessly to the place where the demand is generated within a stipulated period of time. Today's consumer, somebody talked about on-time delivery, bad experiences at store. Yeah, the consumer wants instant gratification today. They're not even ready to wait for 3 to 4 days. Can I get it today evening? I'm in the mall, can I get it in a couple of hours and come back and pick it up here? Those are the conversations we get to hear. So it is extremely important to create certain boundaries around how the ecosystem works, right? So that there is a seamless product movement across whatever channels you're doing. It could be your stores, it could be your warehouse, it could be your D2C warehouse from wherever. And secondly, there's a lot of on-ground training to be done and people to be told what's in it for me. Sometimes you do the entire training, but don't tell them what's in it for me. So they feel that I'm doing a service to somebody else. Actually, if you establish a good ecosystem, you're making sure at some point of time, if you're generating an order for which is available somewhere else, you're making sure it's coming to your store. A lot of times we have third-party websites where our stores' products are listed. Now that's a different channel. It's so extremely important to tell them that we are an organization. Let's not look at your channel that you are a EBO or you are a franchisee store, and because an order is generated on an e-com website, finally we are selling product. We are making a product user base big. we're expanding a consumer base. So it is so important to paint the larger picture. Sometimes people don't get that at a store level. So that's something which we've taken a lot of effort to really create modules, download the modules, and explain to them what's in it for me.
Any thoughts, Krishnan, on the last
Again,
mile?
go back to the example of the endless island jewelry. So we have had, like I said, many cases in which the customer is in one store, the product is in some other store, and the customer likes the image of the product, and she's sure that she'll pay the advance. Now, what's the incentive for the other store to send? Especially the other store is a franchisee, right? So incentivization actually had to be created so that the store that is holding the product sends it quickly enough. And with that structure in place, we have had a very, very encouraging outcome on this mode of selling, right? And obviously this tool enables all forms of retrieval by price, material. Now we have introduced image as well. That's the easy part, right? That's within tech. But how to ensure that behavior is created and sustained is really the game here. Now we have begun this journey in the watches domain as well. Our technology connects each of our stores nationally. But will every watch store look at an Omni order that's been placed when they're also focusing on customers walking in and having those conversations, right? So they have to keep looking at the technology to see if an order has come, pack it and keep it ready. Because Dunzo or whoever will come, and that's a promise that we are able to give, that we could probably beat the marketplaces and deliver it to you in a few hours. But for that, the store which has received the order has to play the ball.
Nirdosh,
one last point. So on the fulfillment part only, so this is a real business case. So when you say Omni, there are few touch points wherein you buy online and return offline. You know, it's a good jargon. It's a good thing to, but you need to understand if it is viable for your business, right? So in India, we are still struggling implementing that part because of logistics and other things. We have 150 stores. But in Dubai, we have 6 stores, and the kind of logistics network there, we are able to achieve that, right? So I think instead of going with everything, I touched that point in my last panel discussion also, that you need to understand the business case and the viability of it. Only not by just going with what others are doing or what is required for when you're implementing Omni, right? So this is what has happened. So we have not done that in India, but we have done that in Dubai because it is viable there.
Excellent. At this last 5 minutes, anyone wants to come with any final thoughts, or Nirdosh, Rashi, anyone?
I'll just make a point on the last mile fulfillment. I think omni-channel strategy, consumer-centric supply chain, all sounds very fancy, and every business has to be consumer-centric. But last mile delivery comes with its own challenges. When your order to ship ratio, such things which, you know, day in, day out, we tend to optimize. When 5-6 years back, we were integrating all the stores, we had our own learnings. When we typically walk into a store, we get the billing done, the cashier or whoever is assisting him or her will just put the stuff in a paper bag and hand it over. What happens if the same methodology is being followed for an e-commerce fulfillment? Once the product reaches the customer, it's just crumbled, and you know, we've had these real-time learnings. While returns are a nightmare for a retailer, we've had events, you know, wherein a product was delivered to the customer with a baggage tag, with the tag. Now, typically, if the tag is left on the garment, when you walk out of the store, it'll beep, and you know, somebody will come apologize and take it back. But what if it reaches you at home? It's really difficult, and these small learnings, you know, have a long way to go. While DC fulfillment and transformation at the DCs, I think we've done enough as an industry, but the last mile fulfillment and logistics is still an open field where a lot of work needs to be done for customer engagement, for better customer engagement and experience.
Yeah, just a quick 1 minute, right? So I think I could see her experience, right? She went to a store and she thought this product is there and she couldn't find, and it was not pleasant at all, right? So technology is double-edged sword. If we say it, we should do it. right? When we say this is going to be shipped to you or delivered to you in 24 hours, let it do it, let's do it, right? We have to make it really perfect, right? If we do it something which some of these challenges could really put the experience like her to be, on a dock, is something we should really avoid. When we promise we should do it, I think that's my final thing about technology.
Any concluding remarks so we can conclude? Yeah.
So I feel my experience of one of the some time back was I went to a shoe brand outlet to buy a shoes, and then I figured it out that the size was not available. I think the retail associate empowerment is also very, very important while taking this omni-channel strategy, because I ended up buying more than what I was supposed to buy. The only reason could be is the proper training of the mechanism on what way the omni-channel might work upon, and then considering the trust that the product has or the brand has, I think the retailer, the salesperson, he definitely convinced. So instead of going from a top to bottom approach, I think the company would also look forward from a bottom to top approach and making this omni-channel success in the complete supply chain.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your patience. It was a large panel, but hopefully we added value to all our audience here. Thank you.